Hello, I want to run you through a quick description of Linux permissions, how to look at them, how to get a basic understanding for them, and then how to change them, how to edit them. And when you initially look at Linux permissions, you think, well, that's pretty simple. How well do they work? They work really good, considering the lack of complexity in relative to the Windows model. They base all their permissions on the user or the owner of the file or directory, the groups, kind of shares that with Windows, and then all others, everybody else on the computer. And you'll see them in a command line listed in groups of three. That first group is for user, second for groups, the third for all others on the computer. The R part of that refers to the read permission. It is equal to a binary value of 4. That's going to be important here in a little bit. Read, they can look at the file, view the contents, but can't make any changes to it. W refers to the write permission. It has a binary value of 2. Can edit files, can append files, can add files to a directory. The X is executable. It is equal to a binary value of 1. Executable is different depending on what it's applied on. If it's on a script or a program, of course, it means the person or all people can use and run the program. If the X is set on a directory, it means the user group or other person can look in the directory, can move through it to somewhere else. You'll commonly see the first group set with RWX. That's the owner, person that created the file or directory. They get full permissions. The second one of the groups, and you'll see it often by default, RWX. Don't give write permission right away. The same way with others, R-X. No write permissions for all others. This is by default usually the case, not always. Remember this order, UGO, user, groups, others. Okay. So I want to use what's called the binary method to apply permissions. And I want the owner to have full permissions. That's the binary values, 4 for read, 2 for write, 1 for executable. The total binary value for the set of permissions, 7. I want to do the same thing for groups. Give them full permissions on it. Again, 4 plus 2 plus 1, read plus write plus execute, gives a full binary value of 7. However, for all others on the computer, I only want to give them the read permission. Superfluous to write 4 plus 0 plus 0. Makes it make sense. Binary value for that is 4. So the total set permissions value, 774. 4 plus 2 plus 1, 4 plus 2 plus 1, 4 plus 0 plus 0. And that's the owner, groups, and all others. All right. Now we'll get out of here and we'll look at a command line. I'll see what we're talking about. Yeah, I won't do that yet. Zoom in a little bit and see if I can make this bigger for you. There we go. The command to look at the contents of a directory is ls for list. Gives you just the bare minimum of what's in there. If you want to look in the contents of the actual directory, we do that. ls, list the contents of documents. However, if I want to get the long version and actually see a little more information, I add the L switch to that. And now I've got a lot more information. You'll notice down the very left-hand side is a set of dashes. The dashes mean essentially that these are all files. This first file here, binarypermissions.odp, that's the presentation I just ran. Read, write, there's no execute, and all others don't have write or execute. These here are PHP scripts. They are actually little kind of type of executables. Same thing. The X bit is set on those. You see that? This first column is kind of interesting. Going back to that, it will tell you right away what some of the things you're looking at are. For instance, a directory. I just made a directory in that same directory of documents. Let's look at the permissions again. Now you'll see here, this new directory I just created has a D over there. Lets me know. There's also some others, but for our purposes, D is directory. Okay. So say I want to change permissions on this new directory. I want to give everybody read, write, and execute permissions on that. The command to change permissions is chmod. I don't know, that's a ridiculous way to say it, but it stands for change mode. Change mode, I'm going to give everybody, user, group, and other, full permissions to it. And it was change mode 777 on new directory. We go back and look at it. As you see, new directory, and it highlights here so that we know permissions have recently been changed. Everybody has read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. I don't like that. I think I'm going to keep that private to myself. Nobody can read it. Whoops, put a 7 back in there. 700 would mean on groups and others, they get no permissions at all, right? Go back and double check it. Sure enough, only me, the creator, has any rights into that file, or that directory rather. Let's see, by default, let's see what happens if I create something in there. What kind of permissions it picks up. By default, this is a real quick command just to create an empty file. And that file picked up the default permissions again, just like this ODP did. No executables. Funny that the groups have write permissions on that. Nobody has write permissions on it other than me, the user. Right? That's a really quick crash course in Linux permissions. It looks to be extremely simple. It's the binary method that I use by assigning a value of 4 to read, 2 to write, 1 to executable. There are other formats. I invite you to find them. See if you can figure out some other way, the other way to do that on your own. That's where I get a kick out of playing with stuff like this anyway. All right? All right, I'll let you go. Bye.